Hello, everybody, and welcome to Planet EFL, the show which we do rarely, where we talk about the Championship. My name's Suj.
My name is James.
And we are talking to two correspondents today who have teams in the toughest league in the world, potentially.
We don't forget about our guys just because they go down.
Of course. Well, listen, mate, we can't forget about correspondents or
year.
hosts because I'm getting relegated and I'll be hosting the show with my team in the Championship. Like I said on our Sky Fantasy Football show, one eye firmly over my shoulder based on the results that we had yesterday with Villa winning and what have you, Bournemouth picking up points. But that's a story for another day. Introduce our guests, James.
So we weren't going to do a clash of the correspondents this week because obviously it's the FA Cup this coming weekend. And I'd been trying to work with Mark at FPL_Terry, our Huddersfield correspondent, for a while to try and make something work. And I suggested to Mark, let's do something in the international break because he'd not had the opportunity to come on. We couldn't make it work during 30 and 30. And I had a brainwave early last week thinking, I wonder when they're playing Fulham.
Did it hurt?
With the brainwave?
Yeah.
That was a lot of brain power for me, yeah. I thought, I wonder when they're playing Fulham. And sure enough, Fulham are playing Huddersfield, not this weekend, but next weekend in the Championship. So timing-wise, it just felt like a good time to catch up with the boys. So we are joined by Fulham correspondent Dara at the Tinkermen. How are you, Dara?
Very good, thanks.
Excellent.
And Mark at FPL_Terrier, our Huddersfield correspondent for his Planet FPL debut. How are you, Mark?
Hello, I'm good, thanks.
Good stuff.
Yes, so we are all of a week and a half away from the two sides playing each other. Let's start with Fulham, who are creeping up on West Brom and Leeds very nicely. Both James and I have a soft spot for Scott Parker, having played for both of our clubs, and he is a legend. How do you feel about the season, Dara?
It's a bit of a funny one because, we've been third or fourth for quite a lot of the season, yet some of the fans aren't quite happy with the position that we've been in. I think that comes a lot down to the consistency of the performances and the results that have come our way. But looking at the table now, it's looking up because the gap was 13 points or 12 points from first or second at one stage, and now it's down to 4.
Yeah, worth saying we're pre-recording this on Wednesday. On Wednesday night, Fulham go to Charlton. So by the time we've released this, the gap might be down to 1 point.
It could be. That's they don't play till the following weekend as well.
Midweek,
so if a win tonight really puts the pressure back on, it lets them think about it for a week and a half.
We'll talk about Leeds and West Brom a little later on. Leeds have 1 win in 5 and West Brom none, I think.
1 in 7 for both teams.
Wow.
I think there's always, at the end of the season, the second half of the season, the Championship, there's always one team that comes up and emerges and goes on a run and breaks into either the playoffs or that top 2 spot. I don't think Fulham will break out because they're top 3 already, so you can't really call it a late run into it, but they could jump into that top 2. It wouldn't surprise anybody. And what about from a Huddersfield point of view, Mark? How are you enjoying or not the season?
I'm fairly enjoying the season, although the football's pretty terrible. I think we'll stay up, and that's about it, really.
So you're at the moment, Mark, you've got a 5-point buffer over Barnsley, who are 22nd at the moment.
Yeah.
None of the bottom 3, Barnsley, Wigan or Luton, are on a particular run at all. You feel like you'd be quite safe there, do you?
Yeah, I mean, we had a terrible start, but our form's picked up since the Cowleys took over, so I think we'll be all right.
One of the questions I've been dying to ask you for a very long time, Mark, is it fair to say you didn't enjoy the Premier League?
No, I enjoyed the first season. Last season wasn't so much fun because we only won 3 games all season.
I saw a mad stat that you had yourself that the 3 wins you'd seen in a row were under 3 different managers.
Yeah.
So obviously, Jan Sievert, people will remember, was manager at the closing of you going down following the departure of Wagner. And now you've got the Cowley brothers who have come in from Lincoln. What's the feeling amongst the fan base about them?
Oh, love them. They're brilliant.
What's changed then? What do they do? Is it style of football better or?
I think that they just know how to like sort of shithouse points, get the points on the table without particularly playing good football.
Effective, would you say they're just effective at setting the team up?
Yeah, I think next season when they've got some of more of their own players in, we might be able to play nicer football. But this season it's just about getting over the line and staying up, really.
What are the finances like, Mark? 'Cause I know you didn't kind of spend beyond your means when you came up anyway. There was always a realistic attitude to, I mean, you kind of come up quite unexpectedly, if we're honest. What was the stat we was talking about? Came up with a minus goal difference, having beaten Reading on penalties in the playoff final. Is there a hope of investment to sort of push back towards the playoff area next season?
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, we're not exactly sure. We don't see like we've got a new chairman as well, and he doesn't seem that keen to be spending big money.
Okay, Dara, Fulham. Talk to me if you can. There's obviously a lot of players in there that listeners will be familiar with.
I think for both clubs, James gave me a printout of the squads just to do a bit of prep before we started talking. Both clubs, the number of players that are still there that were in the Premier League. I suppose you don't really see clubs getting gutted now when they go down in terms of all the assets being taken quite often. But
Fulham have brought a few guys in who are new signings to them, like Anthony Knockaert, for example, Cavallero, who's come in from Wolves. That front three of Knockaert, Cavallero and Mitrovic, who's injured at the moment, it seems pretty potent. How important has their influence been?
Well, Cavallero just recently signed his new deal to make him a permanent, which I'm delighted about, to be honest. I didn't think we had the option in January. But what that also does is it frees up a loan spot, because in the Championship you can only have 5 loan signings. So that then allowed us to get Congolo from Huddersfield. Knockaert has been in and out of the squad. His performances have fluctuated a little bit, but as of late he's come back and he's more of the player that we thought that we'd signed initially. But we've got any number of players that can come in and play the same position. Like Kamara came in for a couple of games. Bobby Decadova-Reid can play there, and he's looking really bright at the moment. All the fans love him. And then obviously Mitrovic, who's out. The injury doesn't look too bad for him, so hopefully he's backfiring. But I think we've kind of shown that we can hold our own without him. Kamara got a couple of goals against QPR back in November. We beat Villa in the Cup, albeit it was rotated squads from both teams, and we beat Middlesbrough, who were a very informed team, without Mitrovic. So although he's hugely vital in terms of the goals that he scores, we've got other players that can come in and contribute as well.
Was that the same Kamara who wouldn't give up the penalty to Mitrovic against Huddersfield last season in the Premier League?
Incident. Yeah.
Great. How's Tom Kearney getting on?
He's been in and out of the squad, little niggling injuries. So Josh Onama actually has been playing in his position and has really grown into the role. He's been kind of moved about in different positions in midfield, but finally it seems like he's found his position.
I was going to ask
about... I was going to say on Josh, obviously Josh Onama played in the England Under-20 World Cup winning sides, obviously signed for Fulham permanently from Tottenham in the summer. I think if he'd have stayed with us, I'm not saying he's good enough, but he'd have been in and around the squad at the moment, such as our state in midfield. And I'm pleased, I'm pleased to see that he's finally getting a run of games at Fulham, because he's a talent. I think he struggles to express himself quite often. I don't know why, but he's got the ability.
Obviously, Parker saw something in him to want to bring him there, because he was coaching the under-21s for Spurs the year before he came to us. So I didn't really get him at all at the start. He was getting bit part appearances, and I just didn't see what he was adding to the team. But he's really found his feet now.
What about at the back? A player that had a lot of plaudits was Alfie Mawson. Still doing bits, still decent.
He's been a bit shaky this season. Definitely not.
I know West Ham looked at him at one point, but not as reliable.
He's definitely not anywhere near putting in the performances where he was when he was in and around the England squad a couple of seasons back. I think he'll have to up his game because we've just signed 2 new centre backs. So I don't think he played the previous game. Let's see what happens. But yeah.
11 months on, Dara, from the brilliant article you wrote for us about the problems at the right back area. I noticed Dennis Odoi still seems to be playing there quite a bit. How's he getting on?
The right back, I still think is an issue, and we need to sign someone there. I don't think it's really been addressed since Ryan Fredericks went to West Ham the year we went up. Not Ryan Sessegnon. Steven Sessegnon started the season at right back. It's been Odoi at times. It's been Christie at times. We don't think we've still found our feet, but Odoi seems to be a bit more sound defensively, and he sits back a little bit, which allows Joe Bryan then to bomb on a little bit on the left. So that's probably the thinking that Parker's going with at the moment, but I still think that's one of our weakest areas.
And Mark, one player we definitely want to ask you about is hero of blank game week 31 last year for all of about 500 people, Karlan Grant. How's he getting on, mate?
Karlan Grant, he started the season really well. Scored lots of goals. The last few weeks, I've noticed he haven't been quite as good. But perhaps I think there's been interest to sign him in January. But hopefully once the transfer window shuts, he'll be back firing again.
I mean, what you're showing me here, 12 goals, 4 assists, decent return.
And it looks like, having done a bit of digging, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, but I think he's been played in a wide position on a few occasions as well. Would that be fair?
Yeah, I think he's played pretty much exclusively out wide.
Yeah, that's going to affect his numbers as well. We thought he was a bright talent looking at them towards the end of last season.
He was. And
there's some old faces that FPL fans might be familiar with in terms of Christian Schindler. Is still about at centre half. How have you been defensively?
Had your gonads still there?
Yeah, had your gonads. Yeah. How have you been defensively? Because I think we all thought you were right defensively last year, Mark.
Yeah. This season it's sort of the opposite. Last season we couldn't score. This season we're scoring, but we can't defend.
And how's my old friend Alex Pritchard? I notice he's not played much this season.
No, I think he just keeps having trouble with injuries.
Yeah, shame. Talent, Pritch. He's such a short fella. He makes me feel tall about my life. But he really is a talented player. Let's talk, if we can, lads, a little bit. And Mark, take a deep sigh when I start mentioning Leeds United, because I know they're not your favourite team in the world. But can we talk about the guys a little bit that are sort of in the front race at the moment? Dara, if you can just start with an opinion on Leeds and West Brom a little bit, what your thoughts are.
We played West Brom back in September, and I didn't really think much of them. I thought they were very beatable. We let a clanger where our keeper dropped it, and they got an 80-minute equaliser. I think they're one of those teams that just kind of are able to get a result. They're able to grind out results. If you look at the table, they've had 14 wins and 11 draws, only 2 or 3 losses, I believe. So they're one of those teams that they're hard to beat. They just seem to manage to pick up points along the way. Leeds, I think they have the best coach in the league. They could do with another striker, because Patrick Bamford just keeps missing so many chances. It's absolutely ridiculous. If they had a decent striker, they'd be walking this league.
Mark, go careful. And I did tell you pre-recording that you can swear. But why does Bielsa's Leeds keep, and it's not just Bielsa's Leeds, it's before Bielsa, why do they keep slipping up second half of the season?
Burnout?
Yeah, I think it could be burnout, or I don't know really. I'm enjoying it though, but
so am I. Yeah, I think they've got a smaller squad than some of the rest of the teams. If you look now at the window, West Brom will probably have a little bit of money that they'll be able to reinvest, whereas Leeds don't have that. They don't have the parachute payments. Fulham will probably reinvest, and they're going to pick up a few players, whereas Leeds are playing almost the same players in and out. week in.
Seems
so when it
strange
comes
then
to the
that,
end of
like,
the season.
you talking about obviously Eddie Nketiah started the season really well for him. Dara's talking about the amount of chances that Bamford's been missing.
Yeah.
And yet Nketiah's obviously he's gone back to
Come
Arsenal.
back.
Seems like a strange one. What do we think of the guys sort of in and around your area at the moment, Dara, just behind yourselves? Like Brentford are having a great run at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah, their front three, the BMW, they're doing really well, banging in goals for fun. They're really good defensively, both offensively and offensively. So I wouldn't be entirely surprised to see both West Brom and Leeds slip out, and Brentford and Fulham, or perhaps even like a Forest coming in and nicking a spot.
Forest have got they're unbeaten in 5 that I can see, but 4 wins there.
They've a game in hand
Games
as well.
in hand,
so yeah.
Can you just, Dara, you mentioned initials there, BMW. A lot of the listeners might not know who they are. I was speaking to a QPR fan last week who told me Brentford's front three are the best in the Championship at the moment. Who are they?
They probably are, yeah. Ollie Watkins is probably the main man. He's got 18 goals this season, same as Mitrovic. Benrahma, then he's picked up 5 goals, I believe. And then Brian Mbeumo has got good few goals as well, 10 or 11, I think.
It's interesting because obviously they lost more pay as well, right?
Yeah.
Really interesting.
Brentford is just a really, really well-run club. They've got their own like data company that they're using XG models to sign their players, and they've turned over like 100 million in the last couple of years.
That's interesting. Wow. XG models to sign players.
Yeah.
They'd never be signing. They'd never go for Jamie Vardy, would they?
Exactly. They're using a Moneyball sort of tactic. They're not afraid to sell their fan favorite players if they think that they're getting a good price for them. Then they'll be able to source out another cheaper replacements.
Timing could be great for Brentford, because they're moving into a new stadium next season as well. Are there anyone, Mark, that's sort of below the 5 clubs or so we've mentioned that you could see sort of breaking out of the pack, like a Preston or something, to make a real late charge for promotion?
Not really. To be honest, can't really think of anyone.
What
do we think of Swansea, guys?
Potentially, I don't know. They've signed a few new bodies there in January. I'm not sure about Sinclair, but they've got who did they get? There's someone decent there.
Brewster's gone there on loan from Liverpool, hasn't he?
That's the one. Yeah, that's the one. He scored at the weekend, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
I don't know. There's just it's very tightly bunched, the race to get into the playoff places. Like there was a surprise loss for Wednesday at the weekend to Blackburn. They got absolutely stuffed.
Lost 5-0, yeah.
They were dead 10 men. I didn't think it was a red card at all, but look, I'll take that. It takes the pressure off us a little bit, I suppose.
What about individually, guys, and trying to turn it into FPL a little bit? Is there certain players who guys might not be familiar with, who might be looking at a move who could be worth noting sort of beyond this January transfer window? I'm thinking players like Jared Bowen at Hull City, for example.
Yeah. Hull were kind of sniffing in and around the playoffs at one stage. They've kind of dropped back a little bit. But he'd definitely be one. They're a very good counter-attacking team. He just got bags of goals. I think he's got the most goal contributions in the Championship. I can't remember the exact figure now. I think it's 22 or something like that. So he's got 17 goals, 5 assists, thereabouts. Maybe Jed Wallace at Millwall. He's having a cracking season.
Okay. They're in a good run as well. I think 8th now, Millwall.
Yeah, they've really kept it tight at the back. We have to play them in a couple of weeks as well. So.
Is that home or away?
It's away. Yeah,
away. Are you going?
I'm trying to go, yeah.
Yeah, you make sure you take some armed guards with you or something, mate.
We'll see. Maybe Eze from QPR as well could be another one. He's pretty young and a bright talent.
My insiders tell me that a deal might already be done with Tottenham for the summer on Eze. But yeah, he's certainly number 10, basically, isn't he? Loves being on the ball. Very, very talented.
Yeah, he's very skillful player.
QPR are an interesting one because they score quite a few goals, but they tend to let in quite a few as well. But I think actually there might be one to watch next year under Mark Warburton, who was at Brentford before. He was a very forward-thinking coach. Mark, have you got any concerns about any particular players leaving during this window?
Carlin Grant's the main one. I've just heard this morning there's a rumour that Aaron Moyes agreed a deal with Brighton, 5 million. Which
£5 million.
Wow.
That
I'd
is
be gutted
ridiculous.
if they let him go for that. Yeah.
Was he near the end of a
Should be at
contract or
least
something,
double.
Mark?
No, he signed a new contract before he went to Brighton, 2 years. So he's got 18 months left on his contract.
What were you letting him go so cheap for, mate?
That's robbery.
Well, it might just be a rumour, but that's just what I heard this morning.
I tell you
hope
what,
it's false.
if Brighton buy him for 5 million, that is phenomenal business.
Mental. I would have put him in the 15 to 20 bracket based on the price of other players.
He was always the one, it felt, Mark, that was the consistent standout for your 2 years in the Premier League. And what's your feelings on him?
My opinions on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great player. He has the right attitude. Definitely Premier League quality. I don't blame him for wanting to leave Huddersfield, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that with respect, you're obviously not coming back up this season. He should be playing at Premier League level, no doubt about it.
Oh, for sure.
He's
Just not a 5 million. Could transfer fee. I'll be like, West Ham, put your hand in your pocket. I'll pay.
Quality player. He's got that rare, special quality that he always feels like he's got time on the ball.
Yeah, never hurried.
Would you be, Dara, worried at all if, say, a Villa came asking after Mitrovic, for example?
Not at all. I cannot see him going to Villa. First of all, I don't think they could afford to buy him. Second of all, I don't think they could afford his wages. I think he's the highest paid player in the Championship. He's on something like 120,000.
Wow.
So even any club that's going to come in looking for him, first of all, they're going to have to be London-based because it looks like he's pretty settled in London. Second of all, they're going to have to pay big wages.
I know a club in London that needs a striker for the rest of this season. Well, he probably fits the sort of profile of player that Mourinho would be looking for. Ironically, I can't see that personally.
Yeah.
Just to touch on that, Dara, on the wages, that's astronomical, mate.
Yeah.
So, I mean, presumably, if you didn't come back up, he'd have to be sold, surely.
You'd imagine so. Yeah, it'd be tricky to sustain that wage and still be challenging. I'm sure that
I've got experienced players at Tottenham who've played in World Cups, Champions League finals, who ain't on half that money, mate. I'm telling you, mate, that is an eye-watering amount of money to be paying someone in the Championship.
He's banging in the goals. He's delivering.
Yeah, I mean, it will seem cheap if you get back into the Premier League with all that money. So
he scored 43% of Fulham's goals this season. So
you need
an absolute talisman.
Yeah, and he was. So many of us had dived onto him towards the beginning of last season. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So many, and he would be the outstanding one to note again if Fulham come back. And you would assume if Fulham are in a great position at the moment to really challenge the front two, and probably quality-wise, you'd look at them at the moment and say, if it went to the playoffs tomorrow, would be the favourites in that. And Mitrovic will appeal, after what you've seen from the likes of him at the beginning of last season, Raul Jimenez coming up, Teemu Pukki this season. Mitrovic will instantly attract attention if Fulham come back up for certain.
For sure. And just to touch on something slightly different, give us an update, boys. Dara, how's your FPL season?
Oh, shocking. Absolutely horrific.
Okay, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, less than 1 million at the moment. I'm outside of the million.
And have you played the triple captainship this week, double game week 24?
I have not played the triple captain.
Kept it up your sleeve, or did you play it earlier in the season?
No, it's still there. It's still there. It'll be played. I'll just keep it. I haven't got Mane or Salah. I've gone triple Liverpool defence.
Okay.
So I've got the captaincy on Trent.
Right, I've got the triple captaincy on Trent. So Godspeed, mate. Because if you do well, I do well.
Yeah, I just think that the position that I'm in, I need to do something a little bit different. So it's either make it or break it, and I can't really get any worse.
No.
He's holding it for Mitrovic at Spurs, game week 37, mate.
What about you, Mark? How's your FPL season so far?
I had a brilliant start, best start I've ever had, but I've sort of fallen away a bit. I'm about 500,000 now.
Okay. It's still very tight. So 500,000 up to the top 100k is not more than 20.
At time of recording, Mark is 1 point and 6,000 places below me.
1 point and 6,000 places below you.
Yeah.
Okay.
That might give you an idea of how close some of the rankings are as
are,
well.
Definitely.
I noticed, Mark, you didn't use the triple captain chip either. What was your thinking?
I used it earlier in the season, got a 2-pointer.
Oh, do tell us who it was.
I think it was Sterling.
Was it the Norwich fixture?
Yeah,
Game week 5. Yeah, you weren't alone in going gambling for C for that fixture. Not at all.
No.
Yeah, I've got Captain Trent this week. I thought that were me being a Maverick, but sounds like
that's 3 of us now. I think quite a few might have it on Trent, just safety first. The way I see it is 2 shots at a clean sheet and 1 attack. It's if one of those picks up a clean sheet and then 1 attacking return in either of the games, I'll take that and run to the bank. Well, we're probably with my eyes closed, hoping that Salah or Mane don't haul in any of the games. So, will be very, very interesting. Guys, thanks for joining us on the Clash of the EFL correspondents. I hope both of you, Huddersfield, I think it's a bit of a stretch to have you back next season in the Premier League, Mark, but, touch wood, it's within a couple of seasons for sure. And it would be good to get you back. My only fear with Huddersfield is that the Cowley brothers getting quite a lot of attention, and if there is a bigger job that comes up, a lot of people sniffing around them. So
it's very unique, isn't it? To have, I think it's Danny is the main one, isn't it?
Main
very unique to have sort of 2 doing it together. It's so uncommon now. There was a spate of it sort of mid-90s, I think, like Gerard Houllier and Roy Evans at Liverpool, for example, but it's so rare now. You just don't see it.
But as far as Fulham go, Dara, it may be sooner than later. You may be back up next season, so touch wood for all the PlanetFPL fans. We'll get you on more.
Yeah, Scott Parker, Tottenham manager next season with Mitrovic up front.
James is in dreamland, so let's leave him to daydream.
I hadn't considered Mitrovic at all, but that's a great short-term fix, I'm only playing Dara.
James, what else have we got left this week? We've only got one more show to release.
Main podcast tomorrow, where we won't talk about Liverpool much. We'll be pre-recording on Thursday, looking at the first 9 fixtures from the game week, see what lessons learned are. Next week's Clash of the Correspondent will be an interesting one for those at the bottom. Newcastle v Norwich, FPL Footballer and FPL Badger. Newcastle v Norwich.
Yeah, I think Newcastle take offence at saying they're near the bottom, mate. They're all right, picking up the points still.
Well, that was an unbelievable turnaround at Everton Tuesday night.
So, it will be very interesting to have those guys on as well. To all of you listeners, do hit the like button, subscribe, share, notification bell, all of that stuff that you can do on iTunes and SoundCloud and Stitcher and Spotify and YouTube and anywhere else. It does all make us feel happy about ourselves when people do that. Other than that, thank you for joining us. Mark, Dara, thank you so much for taking the time to join us on the show. We really appreciate it.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No problem at all. And we'll be back tomorrow.
Thanks very much, lads. Cue music, man, child.
Ciao for now.
Fantasy Football Show.